number of different types of business organisations that you need to be aware of. In this pod, we'll consider private limited companies.
As businesses grow and expand their operations, from a small business into a medium-sized or large enterprise employing hundreds of people, the risks begin to rise. Invariably, the business will have debts, and these debts must be repaid over time. The business is now too big for the owners to be personally liable for the business's debts, so the business must become its own legal entity.
Sole traders and partnerships are in limited liability. This means that the owners are personally responsible for paying any business debts. This is because sole traders and partnerships are unincorporated. Legally, the business and its owner or owners are considered to be one single entity. When a company is incorporated at Companies House, it obtains its own legal identity, separate from its owners. The owners then have limited liability, meaning that they're not personally responsible for repaying business debts.
A limited company is owned by shareholders who have bought shares in the business by investing their own capital. Remember, shares are equal parts of the ownership of the business. If a limited company fails, the shareholders stand to lose only the capital that they've invested. Their own personal wealth will remain unaffected. A private limited company is a limited liability company where all of the shares are privately owned by a small group of business partners, friends, or family members. This type of business is often known by the abbreviation LTD. Directors and shareholders must sign legal documents outlining their rights, duties, and responsibilities.
As with all forms of business ownership, there are advantages and disadvantages to structuring a business as a private limited company. Let's look at them now. A major advantage is that, compared with sole traders and partnerships, there is less financial risk involved in owning this type of company. This is because owners are not personally liable for business debts. It can also be easier for this type of company to obtain business funding.
As the company is its own legal entity, the company can continue to operate if the owner retires or dies. Compared with operating as a sole trader, handing over responsibility for the business to someone else is far easier with this type of company. In addition, these companies tend to be larger, and more people often means a wider pool of knowledge, skills, and expertise.
After taxes are paid, the profits are divided among the shareholders in the form of dividends or reinvested into the business. The owners of this type of business can issue shares privately to close associates, and this increases the finance available for expansion. Unlike with public limited companies, shares in private limited companies can't be sold to the general public. This means that this business model can't raise as much capital as public limited companies can.
It's a requirement of both public and private limited companies that information on the business's accounts are submitted to the government each year. They are then made a matter of public record. However, more details about the operations and finances of a private limited company can be hidden from public view. This is an advantage, as competitors will try to see as much information as they can about rival companies. For this reason, many large multinational businesses choose to remain as private limited companies.
For those looking to start a business, setting up a private limited company is more complicated than establishing yourself as a sole trader. There are also greater costs involved. Unlike sole traders, limited companies have to pay corporation tax and file more information about the business's accounts. However, an owner of a private limited company will probably pay less personal tax than a sole trader, and operating as a limited company may also make a business appear more professional in certain industries.
Choosing how to structure a business depends on many factors. These include the business's size and the aims and objectives of the owner. A private limited company is appropriate for a small or medium-sized enterprise, which is owned and managed by family and friends. As a business grows larger, a public limited company may be more appropriate.